Good afternoon, everyone. Hello. Hi, Saifur. Good evening and good afternoon. Happy Independence Day to all of you. Thanks for joining the live FB session. So I was not planning to come in the FB session again in a very short notice, but thank you for the overwhelming message and overwhelming feedback that I have received on my first Facebook Live on a corporate journey and corporate learnings. But I think there were certain questions which I couldn't answer because of time, and most of the questions were regarding the work stress, most of the questions were regarding the work-life balance, and hence I thought of coming to Facebook Live again in a very short notice. And since it's Independence Day, we are in a very lighter mood. I thought of mixing it with leisure. So it's more like work load, leisure and more, and how does leisures actually cut down the corporate stress that we deal with day to day. I mean, if we are in a corporate industry or in IT industry, a stress-free life is not possible. It's merely a myth to have a stress-free life, irrespective of whatever industry we are in. So the best we can do is to identify the ways of minimizing or cut down the stressful situations, preempt the situations, and deal with it. How to deal with it? There are many different ways. I'll come to that, but it's important that we utilize our leisure point to minimize the stress and increase productivity. So let me see who else has joined in it. I see Saifur, Atunu, Sanjay Da, Animesh, and Shreyoshi, Debanjan, Komalika, and Irfan. Thank you for joining. So before I go into the root cause of work-life stress and work-life balance, I request all of you to pen down few in two or three words what kind of leisure you do in your when you are under stress, and how those leisures actually help in cutting down your work stress. Komalika, happy Independence Day. Thank you. Saifur, good afternoon. So let me see who else has joined. Okay. So if I see the different root cause, I mean, why it's important to know the root cause of a stress or the work-related or corporate stress. Why it is important? Because if we do not understand, we cannot eliminate or minimize. It is not possible to absolutely eliminate because of the different kind of equations that we deal with. It's not only corporate but also some personal equations that come. But it is also important that we understand it. So I divided the reason for stress in three different categories. One is the self or work related stress, and one is the corporate, and one is family or acquaintances or the personal stress. All these three elements actually contributes in your work stress. So if you think about yourself in your work environment, and if you are not planning ahead, that will contribute to stress because you are not organized by yourself. Time management is another thing which I have seen, that if we are not properly managed our time, that has attributed to our stress level. The third thing is acquiring skills. So if we do not have right kind of skill for any corporate work, that eventually creates stress when we get more complex situations and complex things to deliver. So these are the three things that I have seen in my personal life, that if I myself are not organized on these three areas, planning, time management and skill, I'll get stress. If you see that the external factor to your corporate life, like the expectations or the timeline that we the challenges that we have in the process of delivery, that creates stress, and that's the role of a manager or team leader or the other peers to manage it. And work environment is very important. The people and the nature of work, the politics, the policies, the team bonding, it's extremely critical when the stress comes. And another is the pressure, the peer pressure, the social pressure, the expectations that your manager or others or your best loved ones has, that also creates stress. So these are the two pillars. The third pillar is completely personal. Your health, your parents' health or your family health, your financial planning. If you are not well planned, that creates a pressure back up in your mind, and which contributes to stress even in corporate life. And also your family and friends, how actually you create the relationships, maintain the relationships, the way we deal with our family also contributes to our work-life balance. So these are the broadly 9 types of reasons which contributes to the work-life stress. So before I go into the questions answer, I think I will also try to see what you think, that what are the leisure points which will help us cutting down the stress. If you can actually say, that will help us. Okay, who has joined? Yes, I have seen quite a few people has joined. Thank you for all joining, and thank you for the response that I have received on my first FB live. And then I'll go to my next point, that how leisure actually helped me in cutting down the corporate stress and the work-life related stress. So in the leisure, I'll broadly categorize it in 3 different ways. One is the self. The second thing is the corporate leisure, and the third thing is family and friends. So if I think that if I am under stress and what kind of things that I should be doing, I think it has a different set of skills. But leisure is something different. It's not only related to stress, it's also creates a work-life balance when we are actually not concentrating on work. So that part actually give us a refuels us while delivering our actual corporate work. So in terms of if I categorize it in 3 different ways, like self, which I have said, so creating a hobby is very important while we are dealing with different things. Why it's important? Because that unlocks your interests, and that creates a different kind of rejuvenation. So that rejuvenates you in a very different way. The second thing is meditations and sports and exercise. That is key. Why this is key? Because it consolidates yourself, it keeps yourself physically fit, and that contributes to your mental health. Similarly, if you think in the corporate, what kind of leisure is important? It's also important that we create a very lighter atmosphere. We create an inclusive and cohesive team bonding to deliver better work, and that also cut down the stress. And the second thing is how we do the team celebrations, team dinner, or even go for a small conversations, go for a tea break, hanging out with the colleagues, or go for arrange a picnic. All these things are very important if we want to ensure that we have a very lighter and positive work environment, which will cut down the overall work stress. So one important thing is what I have found out is how we actually, as a manager, how we actually create a home match is very important for all the employees, for all the practitioners and the peers and our team members, that are we able to create an atmosphere of a home match for everyone so that the stress level is minimal. So I'll come to that a bit later, because I have one story or illustrations in my book, My Friend G, where I have highlighted the home match and the different aspects of it, how we do it, how we create it, and how an employee actually get affected when he's playing a home match and an away match. So let's say if let me elaborate a bit. Let's say if an employee is playing an away match. What does an away match means? That means the employee is fighting against the client, against his manager, against his peer, and those are additional factors that he need to fight out, the internal atmosphere and the outside atmosphere. The outside atmosphere will always be challenging because client will always be demanding. But how, as a manager, we create an internal match to a home match? And how do we do that? That when I'm playing with a positive team, with a cohesive team bonding, with an inclusive atmosphere, with a complete manager support, and with a very decisive and apolitical and clean environment, then you are playing a home match. You do not have the fear of losing, you don't have fear of delivering, because you know that I get a positive atmosphere here, and that part of mind is completely free, while you are actually focusing on delivering the goals. So you are actually need to score the goal, and you can do that because you have a support of a home audience. So it is very important as a corporate leader or a corporate manager how we convert it in home match. And it's on not only the managers or the leaders, it is everyone in the team who contributes to the positive factor. So that's one part. So I have already mentioned about the self part, like nurturing your hobbies and meditations and exercise. That is a very key. If you see all the corporate leaders, they do exercise, they do meditate, and it keeps you fit. Not only fit, it gives you a mental balance. The work-life balance actually get better. And the third part is family and friends. So that's a very key role. I think some of you has asked me in my last FB live that how we make the work-life balance more. I think it's very critical to spend quality time, and if you don't get time, how do you do that? You plan it. You plan a weekend trip, you plan a travel. Because if I see, I mean, this year I have traveled a bit. Traveled much more than I used to expect. Used to travel in my last few years. I was traveling for almost 7 different countries in 7 consecutive weekends, and it has created an enormous stress in me. Not only me, also to my family. So how to balance it out? So I got one weekend and I went out to Benares with my family. So to ensure that I spend a quality time with my family, my kids and wife, and also take me out of the environment where actually I'm always chased by the deadlines. Similarly, if I get time, I go out to my hometown Kharagpur in a drive, and that's gives me enormous stress-free perspective. But if I'm instantly in stress, I think I prefer listening to music or playing with my kid to ensure that I have less stress. So the leisure, the off time usage, the off work usage actually creates gives a lot of balance to our work, and that increase the productivity. So this is the perspective that I wanted to tell, and that's why I joined this Facebook live. So I have highlighted in few illustrations in my book, My Friend G, about it. But if you have any questions, you can definitely come up with it, and I'll try to answer it. And also I'll tell about my next book, My Friend G, in details what I have captured there. So you can ask any questions if you have regarding workload, leisure and more, or if you do not have, I'll try to illustrate few examples which I have captured in the book. The book is not about corporate learning. The book is not about inspiring or giving inspirational lecture. The book is related to fictional and illustrations, the depictions that we have in a corporate life. The corporate life is not only about the good stories. We face tough situations every day. We face tensions every day. We face different kind of stresses every day. So this book actually captures the different shades, illustrations, and different perspective of corporate life. So Arindam came up with a question that what is G all about? Okay, what is G all about is, it's a fictional 25 illustrations that I wanted to capture, but like I have said that the corporate life is a balance of work and life and different shades and leisure and fun. Similarly, my book is a collections of all different moods and shades and people. If you see that there are fun stories, so if there are people, there will be fun. There will be different kind of relationships that a human being get into. And also it's also captures how to motivate it, how to create a home match, how to create a positive atmosphere. So this is all about Arindam. I'm not sure whether I have answered your questions. So is it Pijush RG is the inner self? I think you cannot disassociate. You can disassociate a writer from the storyteller. So my inner self, yes, definitely a part of it will come, but objective was not to present me. The objective was to get a proper illustrations, the kaleidoscopic life that we live and breathe, the life we actually live on day-to-day basis. I think I tried to capture different shades, different balance, different kind of shades through 25 illustrations, 25 different storylines, and all are fictitious in nature, but in a way there are few characters which is motivated or from the real life characters, but these are purely fictional in nature. I think I have answered your questions. Have I missed any more questions? No, I think so. This is all what I wanted to say. Before again, it's a very glorious day for all of us. Happy Independence Day to everyone who has joined later. The objective of this session was to come up with different perspective of workload and the leisure. So in last Facebook live I missed out, and thank you for the overwhelming response. Stay tuned with my friend G. But however, before going, I think before concluding this session, what I wanted to say that what are the 10 things that you should avoid when you are under stress. One thing is you don't panic, you don't shout out, you try to consolidate yourself, you go for a walk, you go for a tea break. Those are the immediate thing that you can do, and then try to learn what could have done, you could have done well, and try to use it in the next situation when it comes. And also do not try to share in the social media, stay out of it. Try to spend a few more time with your friends and family, and it's important that we spend time with our hobbies, and at the end it is our consolidations and our way of utilizing the situations in our favor actually tells about us. So this is more like how we present ourselves in different stress conditions, and that's also defines our character. So it's so if we can identify our threshold, if I can identify the time management gaps and different aspects of it, that will give you a much better shape when you are dealing with stress and work-life balance. So with that, if we have no questions, I will conclude today's session, and stay tuned with my friend G. I think I'll do one more Facebook live regarding my book, upcoming book, which will actually not only capture the good part but the bad part and the different parts and the fun part and work part, technology part, people part of corporate industry. And I'll shortly announce the date when I'll be doing that Facebook live. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Happy Independence Day to everyone. Stay tuned with my friend G. Thanks.